Chapter 8. Term 2 ended smoothly. I was now fully immersed into the system. Benzi was still struggling. He was famous and at least everyone had heard about his jokes. One morning, this girl Credo put up her hand, but Benz picked Beulah. To make matters worse, he appreciated her gravitational demonstration to the class when she released her juice bottle to fall down. He would have confronted her, but Benz knew Beulah was already in sorrow, having lost her apple juice. Credo never liked it. Benz wanted to wash it away with a joke about African teens, which made the rest of the class laugh like never before, apart from Credo, who saw it uncouth to joke. She loathed teen-age stories. She immediately moved out of the classroom and reported the teacher to the school administration that he was spoiling them. Never taught well, always cracked jokes and never explained. Benz saw the girl leaving and knew she was not happy with his jokes, but went ahead. He had no idea it would boomerang, for he had told similar stories to students elsewhere for ages and remained the best teacher of the year. Benzi was not that usual teacher. In the evening, the deputy principal pulled him out of the class and dragged him to the administration block. He had something to answer. He knew something was wrong. When interrogated, Benzi admitted that his stories were not connected to physics. However, his intention was to promote active learning, draw learners' attention back to class, and make them enjoy while learning. It had worked well with Credo until Credo intervened. I believe after her complaint, parents raised their concern about Teacher Benz. He apologized and promised never to crack any jokes. Would he stop? Benz himself was a joke. A mere looking at you, a smile would open your lips unintentionally. He felt very bad and hurt because he had been reported by a student from the stream he liked most, and was still, he knew, the one responsible. Silently, he went to class the following week with a very low morale. He put the marker on the table and erased the board. Credo picked it up and hid it behind her back. She was playing, but Benz kept a blind eye. Credo was a young, growing half-caste of 15, who was so innocent about the world. Benz accepted and forgave her. She was so beautiful, slim, intelligent, and always took the second position, though she did well in arts. Benz lectured for an hour and left for another class. Poor Credo ran to meet him from out, carrying his marker, and officially requested for it. He simply nodded the head and continued. The following lessons were boring. Benz never remained the same. He saw himself losing the job he had toiled to get because of issues he thought were simple. He recalled the administrators sitting around him wanting an explanation and sank in a sea of thoughts. His cell phone vibrated. The wife had called. One of the kids was sick. It was a real emergency that he had to go. There he filled the leave form and rushed to hospital, sure that the insurance would cover the girl's sickness. He was wrong because it required a brain surgery. He had nothing like money on him, yet the math was still in the middle. To the office he sloped to ask for salary advance. There was no money then, but was asked to pass by the following week. Benz called everyone he thought of lending him money. However, no one was willing to help. I too had nothing on me, for my sister had used my savings to cater for her graduation ceremony. No one would stand in for him. He could not get a top-up loan, for he was already indebted. He spent that week off looking for money. He was in a tough state of affairs most employees undergo. The following week, he appeared at work alive and kicking. It was in glass that his problems were normal. Right, the operation was successful, and they only awaited discharge. That afternoon, I visited his classroom to help me about Google Slides. His head was down. Benz had lost his laptop. He could not help me. Looking around, the iPad was nowhere to be seen. He held a small Android phone. Oh my God. I am sure he had sold almost everything to come his bills. This is the man expected to smile. This is the man expected to smile at students. Yeah, maybe he had to. While still there, he was called to the office. Credo had reported him the second time that he was so rude and boring during classes. Almost everyone dozed off when he taught. She also openly proposed that it would be better if Benz was changed because she never liked the way he looked at her. This time round, teacher Benz of Endless Words admitted that teaching in this school was not his. He was in a wrong place. Did he have an alternative? I don't think so, because he still had a big bank loan to clear. 2. He had family bills to pay. He had to persist on this job unless otherwise. Days passed. He went back to stage 10, where he taught a full lesson while Credo's head was on the table. She never wrote anything. All the time, she watched Benz's eyes. It was then that she realized that what she had done to him was unnecessary. She wished to see him smile again. He did not. Students asked him to resume his jokes. Benz's morale was ever down, although he kept a smiling face before fellow teachers. He became a bit more serious, a thing he never wished to do, for he always advocated for freestyle, good life, easy things. He was in Rome behaving like Romans. Chapter 9. He had no idea that these teenage feelings had been ignited. She was running crazy, knowing nothing to do. She wished to say something, however, she never knew what was going on in her life. She was still young, with all the undoubtable innocence. By the time Credy realized that she liked Teacher Benz, she had killed his future at this school. I cannot blame her for this. It is Ben's responsible. He acted so sweet to the kids and forgot he was not in Kampala, where people were so free with life. They never attached importance to small issues. Benz never paid heed to our advice. He carried on liberalism in foreign lands with no consideration that here every word counted and small issues mattered a lot. Most people preferred blame games, character assassination, and vengeance. This forgiving man was in trouble. He always held lifting others, owning blames, and apologizing without excuses. He never pointed a finger at anyone, yet survival in this school was to find someone to bear your faults. Magnify the mistake, step on someone's head, and get away with it. Whatever the case it was, adjustment was natural, but the Benz I knew would never adjust to what he believed was wrong. He was a Democrat. We always wanted money, but Benz could not stay with such people for long. He started planning his safe landing. When this young girl spoiled the dance with her childish feelings, which the school administration took so seriously, he was laughing for he had important issues to accomplish. He minded finishing the week peacefully, finish the term, and go home. He was tired of the job. However, who bewitches teachers? I mean, who bewitches salary earners? He can explain how being someone's employee cripples one's future and ambitions, then it drags them to poverty and will never quit. Some people can explain how a salary is a bribe meant to let you forget your dreams and advise others to opt for self-employment, but these people are real cowards. They never wish to abandon the safe harbors. That was Benz. There are many people of his caliber out there who know what to do, but they only wait to execute orders from people they think are less qualified or worse off than them. Some prefer being employees because they expect something at the end of 30 days. Such people look at salary as a free thing obtained with less effort, and this is the same mindset in the employer's head. That is why payment often delay and no one complains. Usually employees fear to fight for their rights, for they prefer job protection. There are thousands of people out there who can do exactly what you do, or even better. To make matters worse, even workers are willing and ready to work at a relatively lower payment. Directors, upon realizing this, they threaten to fire teachers who ask for wage increment. At times they say, if you are not comfortable, the gate is open, please. I will get other teachers the way I got you. You cogitate about the days spent unemployed and those you are likely to waste home looking for another, then you choose to stay. Allow me say, never fear to lose your job. There is always greener pasture elsewhere. Chapter 10. The salary cuts may remain the same not only to teachers, but even other employees in other professions. Whatever salary one earns forces them to spend accordingly as if they are fighting it. After all, they will get another at the end of the month. Let's look at $300 as a teacher's salary in East Africa averagely, though it goes down in most schools. This amount is earned monthly throughout the year. It can take 2 to 3 years for this salary to increase from $300 to $350. Let's be realistic at the bills. Rent is usually $50. Basing on the above salary, including water and electricity, however, this increases every year by $10. Television subscription goes to a minimum of $10 a month. Internet usage or data can take around $5 a month if someone is so economical. Medical bills are irregular, so let's take an average of $3 per month. Clothes can take an average of $30 a month. Salon can take around $5 for a gent, then $50 for a lady. Meals can take about $60, while gas or any other source of energy for cooking can take $50. Social fund for those workmates who suffer from uncertainties like falling sick, losing loved ones, and others. Let's deduct $10. Airtime, $10 minimum. At the end, when you sum this up, if such an employee is so economical, mean, as others say, he can spend $200 to save or invest $100. The above bills usually increase by 10% monthly, yet a teacher's salary may do so annually or after 3 years. This is what many call vicious cycle of poverty. Instead of thinking of how to break this chain, you are busy making lesson plans, leaving your wife to the taxi driver or butcher who can afford a kilogram of beef. Now we know why these people have no respect to a teacher. One day I cracked jokes in class and was called to the administration to explain why my jokes were not in line with what I taught. The disciplinary master asked me to instead motivate learners by talking about wealthy men who made it in life. I almost ached my ribs with laughter, for the man wanted the person who needed motivation to motivate others. These children always look at us and judge how hard up we are. They may not openly shout it loud that stop telling us about how to be rich because you are poor, but when you clearly look into their eyes, words are written on their cornea in capital letters. Just labor one day to joke with them about money. You will quit the following day. One evening, a student narrated to me how he made $3,000 in 3 weeks of his holiday. I thought he was lying until he lent me $500 the following holiday. These are the learners we teach. The worst part of this is that we pretend to be wise or intelligent at almost everything and give no room for their feedback. Maybe we can learn something from them. At times we speak with authority as if we own the key to the future, basing on the late Mandela's words that education is the most important weapon we can use to change the world. This statement is correct, but we myopically look at it as the classroom education only. There is another education. That is the education outside our academic credentials. That is the education of how to do lumbering, how to buy and sell shares, online marketing, network marketing, voluntary activities, free services to our societies, engaging in politics, music, comedy, setting up businesses, creation of social capital, and others. Chapter 11. A teacher sticks to the job because he gets meals, but I want to remind you that even a prisoner does. He expects some allowances that he keeps on chasing the way a child runs after a grasshopper for over 10 minutes, then gets hungry, yet the insect cannot cover up fully for the burned energy. The employee is supposed to work overtime, to have numerous part-time jobs, all he may not survive. But why do we work for survival and not prosperity? I one day had our head teacher saying teaching is a calling and those who want more money are lost. I saw this big man with a potbelly swimming in a deep red sea of ancient lies and admitted that witchcraft is real. This is the man whose car was bought by the school administration as a gift for serving long and well. Everyone celebrated, but I instead walked out of the staff room. This was not a gift. It was another bill for his old fellow. The school felt the shame of its head teacher, woke to and from school every day and decided to make this advertisement. If they were really good people, they would have promised to service this vehicle. My point is, this man was to spend an average of $20 a day on fuel and $50 plus for service a month. Thus, a total of $100 per month out of the $500 he earns. So, the car reduced his salary instead. Let's appreciate that teaching is a calling by blessing it with a fat salary, at least $5,000. It will be a calling indeed, but this $300 makes the profession a curse. The above lie makes many teachers stuck in bills and hesitate to say no to mistreatment. There is also another stupid manipulation of ethics. I hear teachers' code of conduct. Such chains tie a teacher and bar him from fighting for his rights. Some do not take each other out because they are teachers. Others do not dress the way they want because they are teachers, yet parents do. We even fear to do some businesses as teachers, yet the rich parents get money from such ventures and step on our heads. I request us to wake up and do the needful. We live once. Let's set a firm foundation for our children. Let us sacrifice ourselves and leave the safe harbors, cross the ocean. Some of us shall drown, but those who shall make it shall set a precedent for the rest of the world to understand that if a teacher is mistreated, he can comfortably quit, join the informal sector, hustle, wrestle with the highs and lows of the imperfect markets, embrace the humiliation for a short while, and finally graduate into a millionaire or even a billionaire. It is possible. Following the loss of his property to the moneylenders, since he wished to save the life of his daughter, Teacher Benz lost control of himself. He cared less about others. He discovered that no one could fight his battles. His heart hardened slowly but still worked. When that month's salary reported his bank account, 8% went to the respective creditors as he withdrew the remainder to send home. Oh, Benzi was in trouble. He had nothing to save since his expenditure exceeded the income. He became indebted almost to everyone, including me. He was extremely miserable. However, the loyal servant taught restlessly. That is when Credo finally showed it that she liked him. As he calculated the number, this girl paid less attention, and after the explanation, she put up her hand. She wanted him to repeat, but Benz pretended not to have seen her. She then leaned on the table, rest assured that he would wake her up, for if his supervisors found out that students were sleeping during his lesson, he would be in trouble. Swear upon the living God, Benz never tampered with this girl. He passed around marking other students until she called him and stared into his eyes and explained that she was tired and not in the mood of writing. She requested him to explain to her after the lesson. Benz nodded his head, then walked away. She slept again. Minutes passed. As Benz walked to leave the classroom, she intentionally set her right leg in front of him. He staggered thrice, then rested his hand on the table of the boy opposite to regain his stamina as the entire room shouted. They called him Jack Chan as he turned at once and looked at her. Credo was indeed sorry. She never thought when acting her age. Benz walked towards her with all the rage and raised his hand at once amidst controversial cheers. "Finish her! Forgive!" He simply scratched his head, then smiled. He turned it into a joke and walked towards the door. She followed him. Her glittering eyes spoke as he listened. She liked him. Her lips finally said sorry. She was too young for him. It became Credo's routine to greet Benz every day, for this made him rest his eyes onto her. People sensed this chemistry and tiptoed him, wanting my man to make one slight mistake to arrest him. The day never came. He admitted the girl was so pretty and enjoyed looking at her. When I asked him about this issue, he commented that he was a professional. I can't exactly tell what he meant, but I believe he was not interested. Chapter 12. I have to confess that, however much Benz looked a suspect of being interested in schoolgirls and everyone put their focus on him because he was so free with them, he never at any single time crossed borders. Benz never commented at the looks of these girls, yet the rest of us did. He never talked about the beauty of learners the way we did. In simple terms, Benz minded his business, nothing else. As all eyes stuck on Benz, the administration lost the big fishes. I admired Credo very much, although I never got a chance to tell her how I felt. She always walked in my heart, and whenever I went to their classroom, I would not miss checking her book. It was very scary to fall in love with a student, for if anyone got to know about it, the penalty was automatic 25 years of imprisonment. The law highly protected the girl child. This was good for Hill's Republic because these souls were so beautiful. Little did I know that our colleagues had almost married the girls of stage 11 and 12. I kept my eyes on Credo with the hope that she would one day reconsider and paint a green light. It was after the failure of AS examinations that I was given lessons in A level. Then I learned of what exactly took place up in the sky. Many teachers truly love students. Sleep with them as they wish without question. I also learned that some of our administrators were culprits, although they were married. It started when I explained waves very well and attracted the attention of many learners, including Oriya Hadassah. She requested me to be her coach teacher. This was an opportune moment for me to earn some money. Every teacher wished to coach at least 2 students to elevate their income and meet the cost of living. The Lord had remembered me. Many teachers used to coach learners from their homes at times in absence of their parents. Those with other intentions met them with ease. At the sight of Oriya, the coach fees never lingered into my mind, but this girl's irresistible beauty. She had a brown skin complexion with a pointed nose brightened by shiny eyes. Her lips were pink and tiny, matching her small head that was inversely proportional to her buxom figure and was perfectly curved. She was like a bottle of Fanta. Truth be told, many teachers admired learners, and a big percentage of them end up luring them into relationships. Some teachers might be trapped by these girls since they spend more time with the tutors, yet this age is so sensitive as the body wishes to explore. They end up picking stronger feelings for their educators. It's normal. Let us not crucify teachers for loving their students. for bosses rarely spare their employees. Married men finish it with the house cleaners. Doctors hook up with patients. Drivers sail with passengers, to mention but a few. Such cases pass undiscussed, but if any issue arises concerning a teacher, the entire society comes in to condemn this act. Allow me echo my voice to the world that I am against teachers falling in love with their students because it is unprofessional and illegal. It can kill the teacher's future, status, and career forever. This relationship has a few chances of lasting since the teacher will see many more students every year that passes, thus is likely to go for others. The girl may also meet other men out there. Very bad. The student, in addition, is likely to lose focus, then fail the final examinations. She might conceive and try to abort, which may result into health complications, including death. Fellow teachers, please let these young angels study and leave one level to another. Many come up with excuses that girls are compensations to the little and delayed payments. Some even go ahead to lament that the school administration is at times aware because they know that when a teacher gets a girlfriend at school, the chances that the guy shall stay at that school for years increase, for he may wish to keep seeing this girl. Others claim that it makes no sense to nail teachers over girls who are usually 18 years of age and above. They call these adults who have all the rights to choose a boyfriend without discrimination of the professions. Such men go ahead to claim that many schoolgirls have boys and men out there, and a teacher is also a man like others. Temptations exist, but for teachers, it is not easy. Oria was knocking on my open door so loudly that I could not shout at her to stay outside. It was tricky on my side. I take any condemnation. I could not spare this pretty girl, although I learned later that Ben had seen us the previous term. Chapter 13. I just learned that a teacher who engages learners into relationships rarely quits teaching, yet most of us dream of quitting. In some schools, the administrators are aware of such teachers and their habits but keep blind eyes about them, mute forever because they believe such educators can do the rest of the donkey work for the institution in order to meet their hidden agenda. My life with Oria moved on well. She completed her A-level smoothly with my help. I do not remember receiving my coaching paycheck. However, I never even talked about it. I am glad she never failed, for I thought she would. Oria always calculated the numbers while sitting on my laps, then tickled me as she threw heavy looks at me. I was ever in mood whenever I thought of her. I don't regret having lived this moment. This is like slavery. We spend more time thinking about students, dressed to impress them, preparing what to say to them, instead of dreaming about our own future. Many of us thought we were using students, but at last we learned they were using us. Part of our salary went on them. We could do coaching at low rates or even free of cost. I wish I listened to Benz. He was never like most of us. Benz hated the profession, the school, its administrators, and the students. He never at any single time greeted the director, yet the rest of us yearned to say hi to him. Benz explained that the boss was his greatest enemy, for the man was his enslaver. His arguments sounded too fake for life that we usually made fun of him. Ben called him mad because he was ever negative and off topic. Benz explained that meeting his enslaver would make his day worse because he would cogitate about his encounter for long, yet he had no way of getting away with it. This is why he undertook the isolationist policy. Benz went ahead to say that if there were no bosses, there would be no workers. Thus, everyone would be their own boss and worker at the same time. He believed in the principle of equality. That is why Ben saw foolishness in this, because even the fingers were not equal. Thus, status and income inequalities were as normal as poverty in Africa. Ben believed that the nearer the bone, the sweeter the meat. Thus, being in the circles of the boss would easily make one favorite, which would easily lead to their promotion at work and other privileges. Benz hated this, for he knew it would wash away the private ambitions of a teacher, as he would all the time work to impress the big man, instead of setting up a stable foundation for his future. He put his trust in life after school. Benz often said that it was not about teaching for many years to become successful, but teaching for a few years. Get some capital and set up a business, then let novices take over. As if he was unrealistic, because gathering capital to start a business required working for many years, and the probability of failing to raise it was 99.7%. Ben and I often laughed at him. He was losing his mind every day that passed. He was so good to students but never got a kid to coach, yet this money made many teachers rich. No, a bit better, for it increased their income. He never got any weekend allowance like us, for we taught during Saturday. Benz was a bit lazy. He stopped working while at school and rested at home in the name of thinking. He did not look ambitious. One evening, the administration sent the deputy head teacher, Alois, to find out whether Benz had future prospects here. The man almost cried with the lamentations that this job was his life. Alois unveiled this information almost to everyone, and the gentleman became a laughing stock. Ben and many of us officially declared Benz was to die a poor teacher. Laughter intensified when Madame Hickma was asked Ben, "What about you?" "It's obvious I am going to be the rich teacher," he said. That was the time Benz walked in the room carrying his plate full of rice and beans. I whispered, "Here comes the poor teacher with the poor walking style." We enjoyed the meals that afternoon. He prayed for his food and ate greedily as if someone chased after him. Alois commented, "Poor teachers eat like that." We stole peeps at each other and then broke into laughter. We could not halt even though some colleagues were unhappy about it. Hickma intervened that no one was born to be poor or rich, but there existed some factors like sources of income, level of investment, and others. This one simply confused issues. She had taught economics for 16 solid years with no business venture of hers. No one had ears for her. We could not stop. Benz had some table manners. After eating, he scanned us using his eyes for a while and cleared his throat. He wanted to say something. He calculated the words, then smiled. Immediately, Ben dropped in another joke about the man's dull black shoes that resembled those of soldiers. We laughed that some meagre of rice could not slop when my throat could not slop well my throat. A handful jumped out. I am sorry, but this could leave no one the same. Benz also laughed. He was not pissed. This is what made him unique. He cared less about some issues. Imagine someone making you a laughing stock for a full hour, but you not only keep your temper, but also compliment him. He sat for a couple of minutes, collected our plates, and took them. Ben, instead of thanking him, he said, Benz carried strings of everlasting poverty. That is why inferiority complex dominated his personality.